Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. Some women smile to keep the peace. Others smile because they already burned the bridge and lit a cigar with the flames. Nice girls get the applause. Sigma females get the quiet respect. The kind that doesn't come with claps, but with caution. They don't play nice because the world told them to. They play real, raw, and on their own terms. And that makes people nervous. Here's a little fact to stir the pot. Studies show that women who reject social conformity are often labeled as difficult, not because they are, but because they're unmanageable. Translation: the world punishes women it can't control. Sigma females know this, and they still refuse to play by the be nice, be quiet, be liked rulebook. This video isn't about bashing kindness. It's about exposing the difference between genuine character and performative politeness. Because let's be real. Not every smile is holy, and not every nice girl is harmless. So, if you're here to hear about real women who aren't asking for your approval, don't flinch when they're misunderstood and sometimes ghost people mid-sentence just to protect their peace. Buckle up. Because Sigma females aren't just not the nice girls. There's something far more dangerous and way more fun to watch. Number 1. They don't need to be seen to exist. They don't need to be seen to exist. That's one of the most unsettling truths about Sigma females. In a world obsessed with visibility, likes, followers, tags, check-ins, most people are terrified of being forgotten. They need constant proof that they matter. But the Sigma female? She'll vanish from social media, group chats, and even people's lives without a whisper of explanation. And not because she's playing games, but because she simply doesn't crave attention like everyone else. She doesn't post to prove she's doing well. She doesn't overshare to stay relevant. She doesn't need to be at every brunch, every party, or on every timeline to feel valid. Her validation comes from within, and that unnerves people more than they like to admit. She could be in a cabin in the woods in a foreign city under a different name, or just lying low in her own apartment. And people will still wonder where she is and what she's doing. That's her power. She's present without being visible. This scares people who depend on external validation to feel alive. It makes them uncomfortable, even resentful. They interpret her silence as arrogance, her absence as rejection. But the truth is, she's just not addicted to the spotlight. She's not trying to be mysterious, she just is. Sigma females don't announce their every move because they don't feel the need to perform their life for others. They protect their energy like it's currency. They're allergic to clout chasing and allergic to people who think relevance is the same thing as worth. And while others burn themselves out trying to be seen, liked, and remembered, she's thriving in the shadows, calm, grounded, and completely untouched by the chaos of public opinion. Because the Sigma female didn't come here to be popular, she came here to be free, and that makes her unforgettable, even when she's nowhere to be found. Number 2. They have zero tolerance for emotional inconsistency. Sigma females don't do emotional guesswork. If you're the type who says one thing today and acts like a stranger tomorrow, she's not sticking around to figure you out. She's not cold. She just doesn't waste time decoding people who can't communicate with basic honesty. She's emotionally fluent, and she expects the same energy. Not perfection, but consistency. Show up or step out. This is where she breaks away from the typical nice girl. The nice girl will make excuses for someone who's emotionally inconsistent. She'll hang on, hoping they'll get it together, thinking that patience equals love. A Sigma female? She knows emotional confusion is often a tactic, whether intentional or not, and she refuses to be dragged into it. She doesn't fall for charm if it's not paired with clarity. You could be magnetic, intelligent, and wildly attractive, but if your emotional energy feels like a yo-yo, she's already halfway out the door. Chemistry without clarity is a trap, and she's not interested in falling for someone who only shows up when it's convenient. She doesn't play emotional roulette. She doesn't chase reassurance. If your feelings shift with the wind, she's not going to investigate why. You're just disqualified. Emotional stability isn't just a preference for her, it's a form of safety. And safety, for a Sigma, is non-negotiable. She values directness. Not in a harsh, demanding way, but in a clear, grounded way. If she asks where you stand, she's not looking to start drama. She's checking if your energy matches your words. If it doesn't, that's your last conversation. To some, that might sound harsh, but to her, it's just emotional intelligence. She's not hard to love. She's hard to manipulate. There's a difference, and most people only learn it when she's gone. Number 3, they don't hide their power in order to be dateable. A Sigma female will never shrink just to be someone's dream girl. She's not going to dull her sharp edges, pretend to be low maintenance, or act like she doesn't know what she wants just to be more approachable. If her strength intimidates you, that's your personal issue, not her responsibility to fix. Society trains women to make themselves smaller to be loved. Be softer, be quieter. Don't be too ambitious, too opinionated, too independent. Sigma females throw that whole handbook in the fire. They're not interested in being easy to handle. They're interested in being real. And if that scares someone off, she sees it as natural selection. She's not going to pretend she needs saving when she can rescue herself. She's not going to fake helplessness just to stroke someone's ego. She's not performing for the male gaze. She's existing in her full force, and you can either handle it or move along. It's not that she doesn't want love. She does, but not at the cost of her identity. If a connection requires her to dial down her brilliance or suppress her voice, it's not love. It's a transaction. And she's not selling herself for emotional breadcrumbs. Some men find her magnetic, but back off when they realize she won't orbit around them. She doesn't apologize for that. A man who's secure in himself won't need her to dim down. He'll want her at full power. That's who she holds space for. The rest? She lets them melt under the heat and shows them the door without blinking. She knows her power isn't a liability. It's her compass. She doesn't want to be dateable if it means becoming a watered-down version of herself. She'd rather stand alone in her truth than be adored for a lie. And that's exactly what makes her unforgettable. Number 4. They're not strong women trademark. They're dangerous women. They're not strong women trademark. They're dangerous women. And no, that's not just a poetic turn of phrase. It's a very real difference that most people don't understand until they meet one and suddenly feel completely unarmed in their presence. The world celebrates strong women in a way that's actually kind of safe. The ones who cry, bounce back, smile through pain, and inspire others with their suffering. It's strength, sure, but it's also packaged to be admired, digestible, and non-threatening. The kind of strength that's rewarded because it's palatable. But Sigma females aren't in it for applause. They're not here to inspire. They're here to exist without permission. That's what makes them dangerous. You won't catch them posting motivational quotes about healing or turning their pain into a brand. They go through the fire quietly, and when they come out the other side, stronger, colder, wiser, they don't talk about it. They just are. They don't perform resilience, they embody it. No drama, no spotlight, no emotional press release, just silence, strategy, and power that doesn't need to be explained. That alone is terrifying to anyone who's used to people begging for sympathy or validation. The Sigma doesn't beg. She builds. Alone if necessary. She's not strong in the way that makes people feel warm and fuzzy. She's strong in the way that makes people rethink their entire approach. You can't guilt her. You can't tame her. You can't emotionally blackmail her into submission. And because she doesn't need your approval, she's free in a way that's genuinely unsettling. She doesn't scream about her independence. She just lives it. No declarations, no identity slogans, no permission slips. That kind of quiet, unshakable self-possession is rare. It's not loud. It's not flashy. But it's dangerous as hell. Because the Sigma female doesn't need to prove her strength to you. By the time you realize how strong she really is, she's already walked away, and you're left standing in the wreckage of whatever version of her you thought you could handle. Number 5. They don't perform femininity. They redefine it. Sigma females don't perform femininity. They redefine it, on their own terms, in their own language, and without asking for society's stamp of approval. While most people are still stuck in outdated templates of what a feminine woman should look like, sweet, soft-spoken, non-threatening, she walks in with an energy that short-circuits the entire framework. She doesn't use femininity as a performance to make people comfortable. She's not interested in being dainty for show or delicate so others feel more powerful in her presence. Her version of feminine isn't about appeasement. It's about depth, mystery, intensity, and elegance that carries bite. She can be graceful, yes, but never predictable. She can wear heels and lipstick, but she'll still command a room in complete silence. Her presence doesn't whisper, "Please like me." It says, "I am whole, whether you get it or not." People expect women to be either nurturing or cold, sensual or serious. The Sigma female is both and neither. She's not the girl next door, nor is she trying to be the femme fatale archetype. She blends strength with softness so seamlessly that people don't know whether to approach her or run. And that confusion is exactly the point. She's not supposed to be understood at first glance. She doesn't decorate herself to be consumed. Her style, her energy, her entire vibe isn't curated for attention. It's coded for self-expression. She dresses how she feels. She moves with intention. There's power in her stillness and unpredictability in her warmth. She doesn't need to be the most attractive woman in the room. She becomes the one people can't stop looking at, not because she's trying, but because there's something about her that refuses to conform. Sigma femininity isn't about being less, it's about being all, unapologetically. That's not sugar and softness, that's fire in silk, and not everyone's ready for it. Number 6. They hate being liked for the wrong reasons. Sigma females hate being liked for the wrong reasons, and they can smell shallow affection from a mile away. If someone is drawn to her just because she's quiet, pretty, or carries a certain mystique, she's already mentally checking out. Those surface-level compliments don't impress her, they irritate her, because they tell her one thing loud and clear: you don't actually see her. She's not here to be your aesthetic. She's not a fantasy character for people who romanticize silence without understanding the substance behind it. A lot of people mistake her calm nature for passivity. They assume her beauty means she must be sweet or submissive. They think her mystery is an invitation for projection. But the Sigma female is none of those things. And if you only like her for what you assume, she'll walk away without explanation. She's not chasing attention. She's scanning for alignment. She wants depth, clarity, intention. She pays attention to why people are drawn to her, not just the fact that they are. If your admiration comes from a shallow place, it's not a compliment, it's a red flag. She doesn't want to be liked just because she's different or because she makes you feel intrigued. She wants to be understood. There's a huge difference. When someone fixates on the wrong traits, her looks, her silence, her vibe, she knows they're not seeing her full self. They're reacting to a fantasy, not engaging with her reality, and nothing makes her lose interest faster than being misread by someone who isn't even curious enough to look deeper. She doesn't need your praise if it's coming from a place of projection. She'd rather be disliked for who she actually is than loved for a version of her that doesn't exist. Because real connection starts with truth, not admiration. And if you're only attracted to the mask, you were never ready for the woman behind it. Number 7. They will abandon you. Mid-sentence if you cross a line. Sigma females don't believe in giving 10 chances or long-winded explanations. If you cross a line, one that disrespects their values, peace, or intelligence, they'll leave. No dramatic exit, no raised voices, no emotional mess. Just silence so sharp it feels surgical. One minute you think everything's fine, the next they're gone, and you won't even know what hit you. It's not about being cold, it's about precision. Sigma females know that arguing about boundaries only invites people to negotiate them. And for her, boundaries aren't discussion topics. They're non-refundable policies. Once you cross them, you've made a choice. And so has she. People often confuse this with ghosting. It's not. Ghosting is usually avoidance. What the Sigma female does is closure without permission. She doesn't need to warn you because she already gave you the chance to act right. She observed quietly. And the moment you revealed your lack of respect, maturity, or authenticity, she processed it internally, cut the cord, and disappeared. Not to punish, but to preserve. This rattles people who are used to power games or emotional drama. They expect confrontation, begging, ultimatums. But with a Sigma, there's none of that. There's no scene, no performance, just a clean surgical cut that leaves no room for re-entry. It's not that she doesn't feel, she does, deeply. But she's mastered the art of not explaining herself to people who already showed they don't listen. And once she's gone, she stays gone. You won't get a second chance because she doesn't operate in cycles. She values peace more than closure. And once you show her who you really are, she believes it without debate. So no, she won't scream, cry, or plead. She'll vanish with her dignity intact and leave you standing in the silence, wondering how someone could walk away so calmly. That's the power of a Sigma female. She doesn't threaten to leave. She just does. Number 8, they see through nice people instantly. Sigma females have a built-in radar for fake kindness. You can smile all you want, speak in the softest tone, and coat your words in sugar. But if it's not genuine, she's already clocked you. She doesn't need proof. She just knows. It's not paranoia. It's pattern recognition. Years of observing people without needing to be the center of attention has made her a quiet expert in emotional deception. She sees through performative niceness like glass, the compliments that are really backhanded, the concern that's actually manipulation, the sweet tone that hides a superiority complex. None of it fools her. In fact, she finds fake niceness more dangerous than open hostility, because at least with blunt people, you know what you're dealing with. The Sigma female doesn't confront these people or try to expose them. That's not her style. Instead, she simply disappears. No call-out, no closure. She just exits the dynamic quietly and permanently, like a door that closes behind you before you even realized it was open. What most people don't understand is that Sigma females respect honesty more than diplomacy. You can be blunt, awkward, even flawed, and she'll still respect you if you're real. But wrap your manipulation in fake warmth, that's a deal breaker. She has no time for people who weaponize niceness to get their way or to keep their image polished. She's not fooled by people who are nice to her face, but roll their eyes the second she turns around. She's not interested in friendships built on shallow compliments and emotional politics, and she definitely won't stay around long enough to become a character in someone else's gossip script. People who fake kindness often do it for control, for social status, acceptance, or to hide their own insecurity. But the Sigma doesn't play those games. She can spot them. She sees you. And if your intentions are impure, you won't get a warning. You'll just wake up one day and realize she's gone. And the worst part? You won't even know what you did wrong because she's not about to waste breath explaining your own behavior to you. Number 9, they don't need emotional babysitting. Sigma females don't need emotional babysitting. They're not the type to fall apart publicly just to feel seen or to hand someone else the job of managing their emotional world. When they're hurting, confused, or overwhelmed, they don't immediately reach out. They go inward. Not because they're shut off, but because they trust themselves to figure it out. This isn't emotional coldness. It's emotional maturity. A Sigma female isn't allergic to vulnerability. She just doesn't believe it should come with an audience every time. She knows that most people aren't equipped to hold space without judging, fixing, or making it about themselves. So she keeps her feelings close, handles them like a professional, and only opens up to the rare few who've earned her deepest trust. She doesn't need constant reassurance to feel worthy. She doesn't need someone to check in every 5 minutes to make sure she's okay. If she says she's handling it, believe her. She's not suppressing, she's processing, quietly, thoroughly, and on her own terms. People who are used to codependent dynamics often find this unsettling. They mistake her independence for detachment, or assume she doesn't care. But the truth is, she cares deeply. She just doesn't use her emotions as a tool to bond, manipulate, or seek attention. She believes in owning her reactions, learning from them, and coming back stronger. She's not unreachable, she's just selective. If she does come to you with her emotions, it means she respects you. But don't expect tears and chaos. Expect clarity, insight, and a woman who's already halfway through her own healing process. This self-sufficiency doesn't make her superior, it just makes her rare. In a world full of emotional outsourcing, the Sigma female is the one who handles her own storms quietly, cleanly, and without turning anyone else into her emotional caretaker. Number 10. They see nice as a manipulation tool, not a virtue. To the Sigma female, nice isn't always a virtue. It's often a strategy, and not a good one. She's seen too many people use niceness like a leash, smiling while they manipulate, complimenting while they control, agreeing while they scheme. So when someone brags about how nice they are, she doesn't automatically trust them. She becomes cautious. because in her experience, niceness is often the softest mask for control. She's not fooled by people who avoid conflict just to maintain a likable image. That's not virtue. It's self-preservation disguised as kindness. She's not impressed by the person who smiles in every room but gossips in every hallway. That's not goodness, it's strategy. And that's what she refuses to be. Sigma females have no interest in being agreeable, just to keep the peace. If she disagrees, she'll say it. If something feels off, she won't fake a smile to smooth things over. She doesn't believe in bending her truth to be liked. That's not strength. That's self-erasure. She's not rude. She's real. And in a world addicted to politeness, realness can feel threatening. But she'd rather be misunderstood for her honesty than admired for a mask she doesn't believe in. To her, authenticity is worth more than acceptance. Always. When people describe her as intimidating, it's often just code for she doesn't play along. She doesn't co-sign fake apologies, forced empathy, or emotional games wrapped in polite language. She sees through the subtle power plays masked by niceties, and she doesn't tolerate it. This doesn't mean she's cold or unkind. In fact, when a Sigma female is kind, it's the most genuine version of kindness you'll experience. No performance, no expectations, no hidden motives, just real, grounded humanity. But if kindness is being used as a trap, a manipulation tool, or a shield for dishonesty, she's out. Because at the end of the day, she's not trying to be nice. She's trying to be true, and that makes her rare and, to the fake and fearful, deeply unsettling. Number 11. They're dangerous because they don't fear loneliness. Sigma females are dangerous for one simple reason. They don't fear loneliness. In fact, they prefer it over shallow company. That alone makes them unpredictable, and in a world where most people will tolerate toxicity just to avoid eating lunch alone, that's a superpower. The nice girl stays in friend groups that drain her, entertains conversations she's outgrown, and keeps relationships alive out of guilt or fear of being alone. She confuses connection with value, even when it costs her sanity. The Sigma female doesn't play that game. If the energy feels fake, the vibe feels off, or the conversation feels hollow, she'll walk away, alone, happily. She doesn't see solitude as punishment. She sees it as freedom. It's where she hears her own voice the loudest, where her thoughts aren't competing with noise, where she recharges, strategizes, and reconnects with what actually matters. For her, being alone isn't empty, it's clean. This terrifies people who depend on constant validation to feel secure. Because the Sigma doesn't need a social circle to feel worthy. She doesn't need someone to text 24/7 to prove she's loved. She doesn't need to be tagged in every group photo to feel like she belongs. If anything, she avoids all that. She knows how easy it is to get lost in the crowd and forget who you really are. And that's what makes her so unsettling to others, her emotional independence. She can detach without drama. She doesn't chase people. She doesn't beg to be included. She doesn't entertain energy that insults her spirit just because she's bored. While others are panicking over being left out, she's booking a solo trip, going off the grid, or spending the weekend deep in thought, creating something meaningful. That's power, the kind you can't fake or teach. And when someone thrives in solitude, you can't bribe them with attention, guilt-trip them with silence, or control them with fear of abandonment. That's not just rare. That's dangerous. Number 12. They don't do groupthink feminism. Sigma females don't do groupthink feminism. They don't blindly repost every trending quote or jump on every bandwagon just to look socially aware. While the nice girl might echo the loudest voices in the room to appear informed and progressive, the Sigma female pauses. She observes. She questions. And if something doesn't sit right, even if it's politically correct, she doesn't co-sign it. She dismantles it. This doesn't mean she's against feminism. Far from it. But she doesn't treat it like a script to recite. She treats it like a living philosophy that deserves constant examination. She wants to know, who wrote this slogan? Who benefits from this message? Is this empowerment or is it performance? While others are posting girl boss mantras, she's quietly asking, is this just capitalism in heels? Sigma females aren't interested in fitting into any ideology that tells them how to think, feel, or speak, even if it's packaged as empowerment. They've seen how easily powerful ideas get watered down into hashtags and merch, how outrage becomes trendy, how real issues become bite-sized for clout. And they want no part in playing that game. They also don't pretend to agree just to keep the peace. If something feels hollow or hypocritical, they'll say it, knowing full well it might make them unpopular. They'll question sacred cows, they'll challenge narratives that others are too afraid to touch. And they'll do it with calm, surgical precision, not to argue, but to get to the truth beneath the noise. This kind of intellectual independence can rattle people who are used to group validation. Because the Sigma female doesn't need a tribe to know what she believes. She builds her own worldview, brick by brick, question by question. And she refuses to be pressured into compliance, even when non-compliance makes her the odd one out. In a world full of echo chambers, the Sigma female isn't an amplifier, she's a filter, and that makes her dangerous to any system, ideology, or trend that relies on blind followers to survive. They told you to be sweet, agreeable, and easy to digest. They told you nice girls finish first, as long as they stay small, smile often, and never ruffle feathers. But Sigma females are living proof that none of that is true. They are not here to be liked. They are not here to fit anyone's comfort zone. And they sure as hell aren't here to play by rules written by people who fear women who think too deeply, feel too strongly, and stand too independently. Sigma females don't rebel loudly. They rebel by existing on their own terms. They don't chase validation, fake smiles, or shallow praise. They choose alignment over attention, depth over decoration, and solitude over selling their soul for acceptance. They're not antisocial. They're anti-bullshit asterisk. And in a world that thrives on performance, manipulation, and nice girl masks, that makes them dangerously rare. They don't exist to impress. They exist to be, fully, fiercely, unapologetically. And if that unsettles people, so be it. Because a Sigma female would rather walk alone in her truth than sit in a crowded room built on lies. So here's to the ones who don't bend, don't beg, and don't break just to be palatable. They don't want to be liked for the wrong reasons. They want to be known for the real ones. And if that means being misunderstood, labeled, or even feared, good. That means they're doing something right. If you're tired of surface-level advice, tired of being told to play nice, and you crave content that actually tells the truth, this is your space. Hit that subscribe button and join a community that values depth over drama, clarity over cliches, and truth over trendiness. Like this video if you felt even one line speak directly to your soul. Drop a comment below. Let's hear your voice. Your thoughts matter here. Share this with someone who's done being the nice girl and is ready to live unapologetically. This isn't just another channel. This is a movement for those who don't flinch when the truth gets uncomfortable. And if that's you, welcome home.